हेलो एवरीवन। आज मैं आप लोगों के लिए एक नया टॉपिक लेके आई हूँ जो कि है कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली, जिसमें मैंने पहली हेडिंग डाली है डिमांड फॉर अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली, जिसमें हमारी 3 पॉइंट्स हैं, जैसे कि इट वाज इन 1934 दैट द आइडिया ऑफ अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट असेंबली was put forward for the first time by M.N. Roy, a pioneer of communist movement in India. In 1935, the Indian National Congress officially demanded a Constituent Assembly to frame the Constitution of India. The demand was finally accepted by the British government in August of 1940. हमारी second main heading है Composition of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly was constituted in November 1946 under the scheme formulated by the Cabinet Mission Plan. And the features of the scheme were: number 1 is the total strength of the Constituent Assembly was to be 389. Of these, 296 seats were to be allotted to British India and 93 seats to the princely states. Point number 2 is that each province and princely states were to be allotted seat in proportion of their respective population. Roughly, 1 seat was allotted for every million population. Point number 3 is that seats allotted to British province were to be divided among the 3 principal communities: Muslim, Sikhs, general, in proportion of their population. Point number 4 is that the representatives of each community were to be elected by member of that community in the provincial legislative assembly. Point number 5, the representatives of princely states were to be nominated by the heads of the princely states. Our next heading is election of the Constituent Assembly. The elections for 296 seats allotted to British India provinces were held in July-August 1946. The Indian National Congress won 208 seats, the Muslim League 73 seats, and the small groups and the independent got the remaining 15 seats. However, the 93 seats allotted to princely states were not filled as they decided to stay away from the Constituent Assembly. The assembly comprised representatives of all sections of Indian society, like Hindus, Muslims, Sikhs, Parsis, Anglo-Indians, Indian Christians, SC, ST, including women of all these sections. Our next heading is Working of the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly held its first meeting on December 9, 1946. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the President of the Assembly, and both H.C. Mukherjee and V.T. Krishnamachari was elected as Vice President. The Muslim League boycotted the meeting and insisted on a separate state of Pakistan. Our next heading is Changes by the Independence Act. The Indian Independence Act of 1947 made the following changes in the position of the Constituent Assembly. The first change is the Assembly was made a fully sovereign body which could frame any constitution it pleased. 2 separate functions were assigned to the Assembly, that is, making of the Constitution for free India and enacting ordinary law for the country. Whenever the Assembly met as the constituent body, it was chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and when it met as a legislative body, it was chaired by G.V. Maulankar. The Muslim League member withdrew from the Constituent Assembly for India. Hence, the strength also came down as 299 against 389, and the Indian provinces were reduced from 296 to 229, and those of the princely states from 93 to 70. Our next heading is Other Functions Performed. In addition to the making of the Constituent and enacting of the ordinary laws, it also performed the following task, like it ratified the India's membership of the Commonwealth in May 1949. It adopted the national flag on July 22, 1947. It adopted the national anthem on January 24, 1950. It adopted the national song on January 24, 1950. It elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first President of India on January 24, 1950. In addition to the constitution, makers had gone through the constitution of about 60 countries. The total expenditure incurred on making the constitution is 64 lakhs. This is an extra information for you guys. And the next important heading is what were the committees of the Constituent Assembly. So basically there were 8 committees. The first one is the Union Power Committee. Second is Union Constitution Committee. Third is Provincial Constitution Committee. Fourth, Drafting Committee. Fifth, Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities, and Tribal and Excluded Areas. The sixth committee is Rules of Procedure Committee. Seventh is State Committee, and eighth is Steering Committee. Among these committees, the Drafting Committee is the most important one. So here is the name list of the members who were included in the Drafting Committee. The most important committee was the Drafting Committee, set up on August 29, 1947. It is consisted of 7 members: Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, N. Gopalaswamy Iyengar, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, Dr. K.M. Munshi, Syed Muhammad Sadullah, N. Madhav Rao, T.T. Krishnamachari. Our second last heading is Enactment of the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar introduced the final draft of the Constitution on November 4, 1948. The Assembly had a general discussion on it for 5 days till November 9, 1948. The second reading from November 15, 1948 to October 17, 1949. 7,653 amendments were passed and 2,473 were discussed. The third reading on November 14, 1949. And finally, the motion on draft constitution was declared as passed on November 26, 1949 and received the signature of the members and the president. Total members were 299. Out of 284 were present on that day and signed the constitution. January 26 was chosen as the date of commencement of the Constitution. It was on the day in 1930 that Purna Swaraj Day was celebrated. Now, our last heading is Criticism of the Constituent Assembly. Many said that it was not a representative body. Some said not a sovereign body. It time-consuming, dominated by Congress, lawyer-politician dominations, dominated by Hindus. So these were the criticism of the Constituent Assembly. And at last, I would like to say that, hey guys, if you liked my video, please like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you.